Here goes nothing at 20 yards.
That's skills with Scot. So one of the things I'm learning about moving into a new home is now I have to find a whole new place to shoot my bow. Now, going around my house, the backyard, it's okay. I've got about 40 yards to shoot from, which is, it's good for most people, but for me, I want to shoot farther. And to do that in the backyard, it doesn't really work. There's a fence and a bunch of other issues. So that means I have to go out to the driveway to shoot. Now in my driveway, I've got about 80 yards to work with, which is great. The only issue is from where I'm going to be shooting towards, it's a drop off, and if I miss an arrow or one bounces off the target or goes through, that means I'm going to be searching for an arrow over like way too big of a space that I want to deal with at the moment when searching for arrows. So with that being said, the next project on my list to do is to make an archery backstop. Let's get started.
So for this project, the materials you're going to need are 5 2x4s, a rubber mat. The one I got was from Tractor Supply Co. and it was 4 foot by 3 foot, and then 4 caster wheels. The first step in making this backstop is going to be measuring out all the pieces and then cutting them. For the pieces, you're going to be measuring out 3 of them to 6 foot, 2 to 4 foot, and 2 to 3 feet, and then the rest should be 2 foot increments left over. After that, you're going to cut everything to size. And again, with this project, it's not fancy, it's not meant to look good, it's just supposed to work. So if your measurements are a bit off or it doesn't look the best, that's fine. After that, it's going to be attaching the wheels. First thing you're going to do is drill pilot holes into the 2x4s and then attach the wheels with decking screws. It's always a good idea to mark out where you're going to be drilling. I just used a pencil and just made circles with the holes in the caster wheels. Now you're going to want to drill pilot holes for each of the screws, because if you don't, there's a good chance your boards are going to crack on you, and that's a pain. After that, it's attaching the wheels. Now what I didn't realize till I had that third wheel on was that they were facing the wrong direction, and I actually wanted them all rotated 90 degrees. After that, you're going to be attaching the vertical bars to it, and for this I just used the 2 foot sections to act as supports to keep the 4 foot section upright. After that's done, you're going to want to mount the vertical 6 foot board, and after that you're going to be attaching the mat. Now this was actually the hardest part, as the mat did not want to stay unrolled. It kept wanting to roll back up, so I had to use a bunch of clamps to keep it in place. And once it was all clamped in place, it was just a matter of drilling a bunch of screws into it to keep it there. And once you have all the screws in and the mat isn't moving anywhere, you're done.
So, time to test it out. One of 3 things is going to happen. Everything's going to work and it's going to stop the arrow, or it's not going to stop the arrow and everything's going to break, including the arrow, or the arrow is just going to pass. Yeah, that went straight through.
So there you have it. The arrow went straight through the backstop. But it's still not a failure. Because you see, even though that arrow went right through it without a second thought, that backstop still ate up enough of the kinetic energy from the arrow to actually make it so it only went about another 20 yards. Which really isn't bad, considering that it's just a clear drop off. And if I didn't have the backstop and I missed, that arrow probably would have went another 60 to 50 yards and wound up in a tree somewhere, and I never would have found it. So I say overall, this backstop is a complete success.